Hi, and welcome to another short podcast. In this podcast, we're going to be discussing a subject sparked by a conversation with Shaw Consulting Director Chris Shaw, the role of innovation in social housing IT. Basically, we're going to be chatting about good innovation and bad innovation. So hi, Chris, and welcome.
Hi, Steve.
So Chris, good and bad innovation. Surely all innovation is a good thing. Innovation drives the world forward. But you have a slightly different perspective on the role of innovation in the social housing sector. Tell me a little bit more about your thinking.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Yeah, so over the last few years, there's been quite a lot of the larger housing providers looking at how they can innovate. And I say larger, I think everybody looks at how they want to innovate across the housing sector. But there's been a move to using the ERP solutions like Microsoft Dynamics and Salesforce. And the thought that, well, why don't we adopt these platforms and replace all our packaged housing systems? And, on paper, it sounds a great idea. You get one solution which can be used to capture the interactions that you have from all your different customer types. It'll enable me to consolidate many of my siloed systems onto a modern cloud platform. And, over time, I can then develop the system to streamline many of my business processes and, deliver those true end-to-end digital services. So it sounds great. And to be fair, there's several resellers out there that are saying they've developed housing-focused ERP solutions that are configured on top of these platforms like Dynamics and Salesforce, which they claim you can adopt and adapt what they've created to meet the needs of your business, which in some cases is true to an extent. But what they don't really tell you is that to get to that panacea of everything working in harmony, you've got to provide a really large team and you've got to work over many years to develop this housing solution on top of these platforms. You really do need to have a really good team that understand their area in real amounts of detail. And then once you've built it, you've then got to test it. Then you've then got to go into continuously refining what you've developed, which is significant too. And if you've survived that journey, you will end up with an innovative solution. That innovative solution is going to be completely bespoke to your organization, even if it's sat on top of these packaged ERP solutions like Dynamics and Salesforce. What we're finding with many organizations that have trodden this path is that the staff that have worked on this project and the consultants that you might have brought in from the organization that you bought the services from, we're finding they've moved on. They've possibly moved out of the sector, attracted by maybe some of the biggest salaries that they can get now with these new skills. So what that then leaves you with is a platform and a solution that you might not have the people then to be able to maintain and then update it. And we're not talking about something that's cheap to do. It's tens of millions to build and develop these systems at the outset. And then it's a significant amount of money to maintain and constantly evolve them.
What you're saying is that housing associations sometimes feel they have to innovate, as that is the thing to be seen to be done. But the reality is it might not actually be suitable for housing associations and could prove very costly to the organisation.
I'm not saying there's not a need to innovate. I think there definitely is a need to innovate and improve what you do. I just don't think that the route of building your own housing solution on an ERP platform is possibly the best way to go based upon the work that we've been doing over the years. Some organizations have managed it and done it well. I think the area where innovation is going to have the biggest impact on service delivery for customers needs to be focused. And these key foundational systems which are managing your customers and your properties and your assets and the compliance and your finance systems and your HR processes, they've been developed over years. They work well. They might not work perfectly for you. They might not have done a great job, these housing system providers, in making them as open as you want them to be. they might not be as quick to release the functionality that you want, but they're there, they're continuously improving the systems and they're making sure that they're compliant. And in general, they do a reasonable job, and they've come on leaps and bounds from where they were years ago because they're responding to what they're seeing in the market, where some organizations have thought they'll go down a dynamics route. We see many organizations retract from that position now as well because of the time and the cost it's taken them.
So some of it, I guess, sounds a little bit like Emperor's New Clothes, a bit style over substancy occasionally. How can housing associations avoid falling into the trap of being dazzled by innovation that doesn't actually provide the solution that they need?
I think the key thing here is really understanding that the areas where innovation is going to serve you well, what's going to have that biggest impact on improving service delivery to your customers and in your day-to-day operations. If you look at what failure demand you're servicing on a day-to-day basis, and then looking at, is it down to the lack of capability in my systems? Is it down to my business processes not being aligned? Or is it that I'm not providing my customers with enough information about the interactions that I'm having with them in a timely manner? I'm not enabling them to self-serve in the way they want. I think those are the key things that I think you need to ask yourself before you think about, even replacing your systems with another package system or an ERP solution. If you're still wanting to go down the ERP route, I think the key thing there is making sure you do your due diligence very carefully on any supplier who claims they've got a solution that'll replace all your specialist housing systems. What you may gain in one area where it might simplify certain things, we're finding that you're losing both functionality and increasing operational overhead in several others. So really do your due diligence.
To sum up then, very simply, what you're saying is take a step back, ask yourself, what do we really need to achieve?
Yeah, that's it, Steve. Yeah, it's spot on.
Okay, on that point then, let's wrap up. Thanks for your time again today, Chris. Any organisation wanting to get in touch can contact Chris via the Shaw Consulting website or through LinkedIn. Thanks so much for listening today, and watch out for more podcasts heading your way soon.